this is Catherine again, and we'll be working on the next lesson in the physical science unit for kindergarten. And what this lesson focuses on is the sense of touch. And yesterday we talked about using the sense of sight in your lesson. So today you can kind of revisit your 5 senses, include that as part of a unit on All About Me or 5 senses. And so what you're going to do today is ask the children just to use their sense of touch and not to rely on as much their vision, to observe and make observations about objects and things they see around the classroom and the materials that we'll be using. So again, you would start with an object from your desk or the same object you used yesterday. You could hold up that file little folder again, and you could just ask the students to, instead of looking at it, you're going to pass it around the class, and what they could do is they could feel it, they could rub against it, they could pass it to the next student and see kind of, was that smooth when you passed it? And you want to spend a little time doing that around the classroom. So what those students are going to do is they're going to make observations by just using their hands. What's really important is, especially with kindergartners, a lot of times they'll want to rely again on their sight and they'll start talking about what the object looks like. So kind of using that opportunity for students to really talk about what it feels like and reminding them of that. Like if they say something, oh, it has stripes, well, is that something you can feel? Or just reminding them to close their eyes if it's becoming kind of a problem as you move around in the circle, to just have them rub it and touch it so that they're just relying on their hands. What the rest of these lessons in this unit will include a whole group portion, and that's kind of the passing around part where you're going to pass around the object, and then they'll include a small group piece. And what might be a good idea if you're pressed for time, or if you need to move on to the next lesson, or you need a science center, this might be a good opportunity to use the small group piece as a center, or a science center, or a free choice center. Students will be asked to divide into pairs. I always like to make those pairs on my own, so it kind of cuts down on a lot of wasted time. And one partner is going to be asked to be the bag holder, and the other person is going to be the feeler. And the person who's the bag holder is going to go around the room and find an object to hide inside their bag. And now kids in my class love to hide things inside that bag. What I like to do too is lay out some objects on a table so they're not spending a lot of time roaming around the room trying to find objects maybe that are too big or too small, or possibly just not easy to feel. So what I like to do is I just put them out on the table and the kids can go pick from that. So what the kids do is that, again, they put that object inside the bag and they bring it back to their partner, hiding it. And remind the students that they have to hide it. They can't show it to their friends because they're going to have to use their sense of touch. So back with their partner, they're going to hand the bag to their partner and reach inside without looking. And I like to have the kids close their eyes because they're notorious for peeking inside. So what they're going to do is they're going to feel inside the paper bag and make a guess on what they feel. And the students, give them some time to really make those observations. And if they have some extra time, you can always have them switch objects back to the table again. So the small group portion too that you could include as part of a center or on a different day is that the students are going to be making a recording book on sorting objects by touch. And what they're going to do is they're going to receive a stack of different colored objects and different textures. And they can use their eyes for this portion, but I also would remind them to really rely on their sense of touch. And in their sorting book, there are additional pages in the book where students could go and use those same objects from before that were laid out on the table, and they can sort them again by color, texture, and size, and draw their own categories that they made. A challenge activity might be at the end for your early finishers that they could take their fabric swatches or their squares and put them inside a bag. And then every student could receive their own bag at that point. And then what they could do is try to find matches, like things that were the same texture or things that were the same size, by just using their sense of touch. And of course they could do this again with different classroom objects, but they would need a partner to kind of hide objects for them at that point. The students really enjoy this lesson, and what I like to do after is bring the kids all back to a whole group setting, and we talk and we do one final. I like to put all the swatches and squares back into a bag and kind of walk around the room and have them try to find a match, just to kind of wrap up the lesson.